To say that I am particularly impressed and pleased to see how well attended this meeting is. You mentioned this, it's the third ministerial forum we have. I remember very well when, together with the Jordanian co-presidency and the Secretariat, we decided to invest in this ministerial format to make things that already happen work better. And I think the presence today confirms us of the growing interest for the Union and most of all the unique opportunity it represents. Because in no other format do we have the same chance to discuss practical cooperation on issues that matter to our citizens' daily lives beyond all sorts of political, cultural or religious divides. And we all know discussing practical, concrete cooperation is never enough, but it's the starting point that can allow us also to build more understanding on other issues. I would also like to start by thanking the outgoing Secretary General, Fatah Massi, for his excellent work, and welcome his successor, Ambassador Nasser Kemal. We had already the opportunity to meet just after you took office, and I'm sure you will bring new dynamism and strong commitment to the Secretariat and to the whole organization. And I think we are seeing this already in these first weeks of work. And finally, a special thank to our host, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Spain and the government of Spain. I know how much work you have personally done all through your career to strengthen Euro-Mediterranean cooperation in different positions. And I think we couldn't have a better host for our forum today. It is a pleasure to be back in Barcelona, where the Euro-Mediterranean process was launched, as you mentioned, in 1995. And today, our region is going through a long and difficult transition that seems endless and hopeless from time to time. Just to mention three main crises we have constantly on our agenda: the war in Syria that is not over yet, Libya still torn by violence and instability, and the perspective of a two-state solution for Israel and Palestine that continues to be dismantled piece by piece. And too often, confrontation and militarization are prevailing over the search for win-win solutions. And regional cooperation, let alone integration, certainly does not seem to be high on the agenda. We see these dynamics, and yet we think that this is not inevitable, that this is a result of political choices. It would be probably easier under these circumstances to give in to skepticism about regional cooperation and integration. But I believe that now more than ever there is a need to move beyond a mindset based on competition and spheres of influence towards a more cooperative dynamic. You mentioned the numbers, which are impressive. There's a lack of potential, including economic potential, that the region cannot afford having any longer. There is also no other way to put an end to the current conflicts, but also, again, it's an instrument, it's a vital instrument to create jobs and sustainable growth for our people. There is more than ever a strong need for more effective regional mechanisms and regional institutions that can be able to prevent, manage, and solve crises. And this is why, again, instead of inventing other platforms or fora, it is the Union for the Mediterranean that we recognize as the precious policy platform that we all share. It has proved to be the only regional forum that creates space for dialogue and cooperation among actors who otherwise would not talk to one another. And they not only talk in this forum, but they also cooperate on projects. This is why we in the European Union have invested so much in these projects and will continue to do so in the years ahead. In these years, together, we have consolidated a new governance mechanism and created policy platforms in areas such as water management, environment protection, and energy. In all these fields, the impact on the daily lives of our citizens is self-evident. And I want to stress this point because we see too often on both shores of the Mediterranean, people have the feeling that institutions don't serve them, that democracies don't deliver. And this is why I believe that when we manage to make a positive difference in their lives, it is not only a proof of this forum functioning well, but it's also a service to the quality of our democracies all around the Mediterranean. This is precisely what the Union for the Mediterranean has done, mainly engaging with young people, focusing on women empowerment, working with the different active forces in the civil society, and I think this is invaluable. Think of the two Euro-Mediterranean universities, one in Slovenia and one in Morocco. They are promoting exchanges and student mobility across our region in a sort of Mediterranean Erasmus, and by doing so, they're also forging a new generation of young young people with a unique Euro-Mediterranean vision that will be, I think, an investment also for the political dynamics of the region in the future. Or think about Med for Jobs, that has trained over 200,000 young people from our region, helping them learn a foreign language, improve their computer skills, scale up their small enterprise. And these are already well-established realities, but we're also working to expand our cooperation to new projects and new fields. And here I want to mention the fact that we are closer than ever to turning the desalination plant for Gaza into reality after a successful donors conference last March. And this is not only a highly symbolic project, but an action with life-changing impact for literally millions of people. We've also launched a new initiative for the next 10 years to address water scarcity all across our region through innovative technologies. It is called Partnership for Research and Innovation in the Mediterranean, PRIMA. Through the centuries, we know very well in all our different countries how we, the people of the Mediterranean and beyond, have always found new ways to cultivate lands that seemed too dry or too impervious. We invented the most fantastic ways and creative ways of overcoming this. Today, this challenge has become much more urgent and much more difficult to face due to climate change and desertification. But we also have the most advanced technologies on our side. And with this project, we want now to mobilize our best scientists and engineers for a shared interest of all Mediterranean people, also because that water scarcity can be at the basis of many conflicts and tensions in the region. So it is not only a practical project, it's also a political value that we see clearly. So 10 years after we began, the Union for the Mediterranean, I think now is more alive and crucial than ever. It is true that we have a more complex and conflictual regional environment. It is true that we could find new obstacles on our way, and we probably find them on a daily basis. But I believe that if we could keep focusing on our common interest, we can overcome these sorts of political obstacles. And even more, I will never stop saying this, cooperation on practical projects can create the space for political dialogue on other issues that are not part of this forum, but that can be tackled in a cooperative manner. So we need the Union for the Mediterranean more than ever to replace competition with cooperation and conflict with integration. I'm sure that my colleague Commissioner Hahn will explain in more concrete terms during his intervention later on how the European Union is translating this political commitment to the Union for the Mediterranean into operational cooperation, including some of the budgetary issues that I know are very close to some of our hearts. But I want to stress very strongly this point to conclude, that there can be no doubt, and we have no doubt, about the fact that the European Union is committed not only to the Union for the Mediterranean as a functioning and key forum, but also to the Mediterranean as such. It is our region, it is our sea, it is our shared sea, it is our interest to have a Mediterranean that develops in a positive direction. So I believe that today it will be important to work together on how we can use the full potential of the Union for the Mediterranean, provide political guidance so that we can use it even more in the next years, and try to start building a better future for our region. This is really the place to work for practical solutions for today, but also to plant the seeds for a better understanding for tomorrow as well. Thank you very much, and now I give the floor to my co-chair.